Hey everyone, Codeth here, and this is my Blizzard build for Diablo 4 Season 3. So let's go over our skill loadout real quick. I'm using Teleport, Ice Armor, Flame Shield, Ice Blades, Arc Lash, and Blizzard. For our enchantments, we've got Ice Blades. This is a source of cooldown reduction and vulnerable. And we got Frozen Orb for another source of vulnerable. So two sources of applying vulnerable for our enchantments there. Okay, let's go over our gear. Now I don't have the max rolls and like all the stats I'm looking for just yet, but I'll let you guys know what I am looking for when I go over these items. I do have all the aspects though. So starting off first with the helmet, I've got Snow Guard here for the damage reduction. I'm looking for total armor, cooldown reduction, maximum life, and intelligence. For our chest piece, we've got disobedience for the armor. And the stats I'm looking for are armor, damage reduction close, and burning. For your gauntlets here, we're using Pain Gorgers. This is one of the new items that came out for Season 3. This drops off the Ice Boss, or Beast in the Ice. So what this does, it states, damaging enemies with a non-basic skill cast marks them for 3 seconds. When a basic skill first hits a marked enemy, the basic skill's damage is echoed to all marked enemies, dealing increased damage. That goes up to 200%. So essentially, I mark them with either Ice Blades or Blizzard, and then I hit them with Arc Lash, and it just echoes through all the enemies that were marked. So it's been pretty cool. For our pants, I'm using Ever Living. This is another source of damage reduction. I'm looking for total armor, damage reduction close, and burning. Distant is fine too, though. We got Esus here for that crit chance, it being increased by our movement speed bonus. So this also has a synergy with our Arc Lash. You guys will see when I go over the skills. For our weapon, we've got a wand here for lucky hits. I'm looking for intelligence, all stats, crit damage, and close. This is still pretty good though. I might be using this for a while. For our amulet, we're using Glacial. This one is really important for the build. So when you cast a Blizzard, it'll periodically spawn exploding ice spikes that deal damage. Your ice spikes deal increased damage to frozen enemies. So this aspect's a little weird. When you're leveling up, if you're leveling up with this build and you're like using this aspect, you're gonna be like getting this to drop, and you're gonna keep upgrading it as you like level up and go into higher world tiers. That's how this aspect is gonna work. So you're going to constantly be looking for higher damage ones. But the stats I'm looking for on here are Hoarfrost, mana cost reduction, movement speed, and cooldown reduction. For our ring here, I've got Starless Skies, but you can sub this out for Tal Rashas. I usually switch to Tal Rashas for bosses anyway. But spending your resource reduces the resource cost of your skills and increases your damage by 10% for 3 seconds up to 40%. So they reworked Starless Skies this season, so it's actually been pretty nice for this build. Then we got Blue Rose here. Damaging an enemy has up to 30% chance of forming an exploding ice spike. Dealing cold damage, triple this chance if an enemy is frozen. So you'll see when I go over my skills, I've got a lot of stuff like benefiting, like synergizing with Frozen, and we got the movement speed with Arc Lash, but we'll go over that right after this. For our offhand here, we've got Shredding Blades. This is a new aspect that came out in Season 3. So Ice Blades has a chance to apply vulnerable is increased by 20%. So increased chance of applying vulnerable, very nice with Ice Blades. And we gain 25% increased vulnerable damage. That's multiplicative too. So yeah, for this I'm looking for crit chance, mana cost reduction, cooldown reduction, and resource generation. But chance to store resource is fine too. You can sub that out as well. Alright, so let's go over our skill tree. Starting from the top, I've got Arc Lash, Enhanced, and then Flickering. This is our extra movement speed source here. So this synergizes with Esus pretty well. And coming down here, we got Frozen Orb into Enhanced and Greater. So this is our source of vulnerable right there. Yeah, there's another frozen synergy right there. Frozen enemies, they'll always be made vulnerable. And then coming down here, we got Flame Shield, Enhanced, and Shimmering for that extra heal, which is very nice with the new potion change. I got 1 rank into Teleport all the way over to Shimmering for that damage reduction. 1 point into Elemental Attunement for that critical strike, having a chance to reset your cooldowns for your defensive skills. It's pretty nice. So yeah, think Teleport, Ice Armor, and Flame Shield. Those are all defensive skills. And then 3 ranks into Glass Cannon for the increased damage. 1 point into Ice Armor and Enhanced for the mana regeneration. And we got 3 points into Precision Magic for the lucky hit chance increase. 1 point into Ice Blades, into Enhanced, into Summoned Ice Blades. This is our source of cooldown reduction for other skills. It's really nice. 1 point into Align the Elements so that we can get 3 points into Mana Shield and Protection. So these are 2 defensive passives here, which are really nice. Then coming down to our Mastery little table here, we've got Icy Veil, and then Snap Freeze. This is a little fun. Another freeze synergy here. I figured I might as well get this. So Frost skills have a 3% chance to instantly freeze. So that works really well with our aspects. And then I got 1 point into Blizzard. You don't need to max this out at all. Our damage comes from the ice spikes. And then Enhanced and Mage's Blizzard to increase the duration. I've got 1 point into Inner Flames and 3 into Devouring Blaze to increase our critical strike damage against burning enemies. We've got another synergy there with our Seneschal. Then coming down here to our ultimate table, we didn't take any ultimates, but we took some passives. I've got Permafrost here for the increased damage to elites, 3 ranks. 3 ranks into Icy Touch for increased cold damage to vulnerable enemies. 3 ranks into Hoarfrost for increased damage to chilled and frozen enemies, and then 1 rank into Frigid Breeze for the lucky hit chance to generate mana against vulnerable enemies. Then coming down here, we actually took some lightning passives. I took Coursing Currents. This gives us increased critical strike chance when we hit enemies with our shock skills. I've got Electrocution here, 3 ranks. So enemies deal 15% less damage for 5 seconds after being critically struck by your shock skill. So our Arc Lash. It's a nice source of damage reduction right there. It's 15%. And I got 3 ranks into Convulsions. So it's another lucky hit thing. Shock skills have up to a 9% chance to stun enemies. So it's a nice form of crowd control right there. So we've got Freeze, Stun, and Chilled. And then coming down over here, we've got Shatter. So after Freeze expires, enemies explode for 25% of the damage you dealt to them while frozen. This is really good for Nightmare Dungeons and Vaults when you have like really high density. Everything's like grouped up. Very nice for that. Alright, let's go over our Paragon board. I'm going to go over this briefly, but I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can go over this like more thoroughly with the planner. But in the sake of time for this video, let's keep it short and sweet. So we're starting off with Elementalist on our first board. Coming up here, we've got the Enchantment Master board, and we took Flame Feeder. Coming over to the left, we took Icefall, and we have Reinforced on this board. Going down, we've got the Frigid Fate board, and we took Stalagmite. Over to the left, we've got Burning Instinct board, and we took Destruction here. And then finally, we took the Ceaseless Conduit board, and we took Control. So yeah, there'll be a link in the description, and you guys can check this out at your leisure. But yeah. Oh, let's go over the Seneschal. So I've got Focus Fire, Arcing Support, Swift Support, and Burning. So this is our source of burning damage. So this is really cool this season. We don't have to take Firebolt anymore for our enchant. It frees up a slot. So we're utilizing the burning support from our Seneschal. Arcing makes it hit up to 10 additional enemies. It's been pretty nice. And then we got Flash of Adrenaline. This gives us an increasing damage dealt. Fortify, so we have Source of Fortify, which is kind of cool. Safeguard for damage reduction, and then duration support. Makes our effects last longer. So that is the Seneschal. This build can do tier 100 Nightmare Dungeons. Vaults have had no issues. The bossing's not too bad either. I'll show you the gameplay after this. But let me show you guys the target dummies. So yeah, this would be my typical loadout for like just multiple enemies. Yeah, you kind of see how we're just like melting these. Alright, let's get rid of those, and let me show you guys a boss. Okay, so here's a boss here, and I'm going to switch to Talrashes here for the boss. Taking out Blue Rose for Talrashes. So we have a source of fire damage, cold damage, and lightning damage. So there's 3 different damage types right there. Pretty good at staggering too. But yeah, I have a decent amount of damage. But don't take my word for it. Check out this gameplay.